Welcome everyone. My name is Charlie Vasquez, and I want to thank you guys for joining me on tutorial number one. Now, what we're doing here is we're running a series of kind of short how-to videos on how to set up this application. You guys have taken the first step in the right direction in terms of increasing your oversight, your performance development, and your coaching commitment to your team. This application is going to significantly help your ability to engage with them on a frequent basis with sort of a targeted approach. It's going to help you track various aspects of their job performance and help you have meaningful conversations with them in terms of driving performance in the right direction. It's also going to help you track some of your goals as well as sort of progress in certain areas. But the application is a little bit involved in setting up. And so I thought it would be a great idea to make these tutorials available for you guys to assist along the setup process. And so we're gonna be breaking these down into small or short 10-minute videos, right around 10 minutes. Some of them will be a little shorter, some of them might be a little longer. But I would encourage you guys to watch them all so that you're setting up this application in a way that's going to help you effectively apply the right settings, set your teams up the right way, create the right objectives, and whatnot. Now, I want to kind of preface that I personally come from the insurance and financial services industry, so I'm going to be setting up this particular demonstration, this demo account, as if I were still in that industry, as if I still own an insurance agency and a financial service agency. And so those of you who are in that industry and using the application, it might seem very familiar to you. Some of you who might own some, who operate or manage some marketing firms, or we have several users that are small law firms and whatnot. So this might seem, as I set this application up, it might not be exactly what you need from a objectives perspective, so you'll have to customize it for your particular goals. I just wanted to preface that so that you understand that I'm setting this application, or I'm setting up this particular account as if I were in the insurance and financial services industry. And then you'll see that there are a series of videos, so I would again encourage you guys to watch them all, and they should be organized in a way to where they're in a sequence in which you should watch them. So this is what I'm going to do first in this video, or in this tutorial, is basically just run through the account setup tab, sort of the administration area. If you just signed up and you logged in for the first time, you should have received an email, a systematic email with that weird temporary password. I want to encourage you guys to go in and change your password to something that is something you can remember. That way you're not relying on having to consistently go in and use that temporary password. It's designed for one-time use. You can log in multiple times with it, but again, it's so strange the way it's formulated that it's just easier to go in and change it to something that you can remember. So if you're logging in for the first time, this is probably what your screen looks like, or something very similar to this. You'll see one profile box here, and it should have your initials in it along with your email address. And then you'll see up here on the upper right hand corner is the administration box. It's sort of where the account setup stuff is at. You should see your business name in there. I've set this up as Synapse Demo Account. If you're a insurance agent, your insurance agency name should be in there. Right now you don't see any logos or any pictures of team members or employees, only because we haven't added them in yet. And so we'll go through all these features in different tutorials, one at a time. For now, I just really want to focus on what's in this box up here. This is sort of the account details and administrative area. This is kind of where you set up the very basic functions of the application. I want to start by going into the account details tab. When you click on this tab, you'll see a bunch of general information. You're going to see that you're going to see your own information in here, your name, your title with the company. Again, when you set this stuff up, when you set up your account, you notice that they asked you some of these questions along the way, so some of this stuff automatically populates. Here's where I would encourage you to reset your password. So if you haven't already, just go in, reset your password to something that you can remember. Make sure and fill in all this information here. This is, again, going to look very similar to what your employees have to, or what you have to fill in for your employees when you start adding them into the account. If you click on this box right here, it allows you to add a picture. We'll just go ahead and add a picture right now, just so add my own picture. There we go. There's Charlie. This will be when we X out. After we save updates and we go back to the team profile or the team roster tab here, you'll see my picture in there already, or you'll see my picture in there now having uploaded it. Change your password again. Here is somewhere I'll spend a minute here talking about this, adding a backup email. Some of you are independent contractors with various insurance companies. And if you're an independent contractor with various insurance companies, or if you're part of a franchise, it's likely that your email address ends with that particular company's name. So like if you're part of ABC Insurance Company and you're affiliated with them, it might be Charlie Vasquez at abcinsurancecompany.com. If that's the case, what ends up happening, or what can happen, is those particular companies can set filters that could prevent you from getting systematic emails from us, from this application. The one in particular, the one that might be problematic, is if for whatever reason you forgot your password. You can request a reset password. The problem is that sometimes, depending on whether or not you operate off of a private server or a public server, you may never receive that systematic email. So what we would encourage you to do is, if you set this account up utilizing a private server or a company server that could potentially flag emails from us as junk mail and they never get through to you, I would encourage you guys to go in and add up a backup email, something that's a private email from a Gmail account or a Yahoo account or a Hotmail account. That way, in the event that we do send you backup, or we do need to send you emails, in particular a password reset email, we can assure that you'll get it, because those particular email providers won't prevent those from going through. And this emergency contact piece right here, this is mostly for your employees when you start setting them up. So if you have a spouse, if they have a spouse or a parent that they want contacted in the event of emergency, you could put that in there. And then this user role piece right here is important only because it's going to determine whether or not the various profiles you have set up within your account have access only to their profile or have access to everyone's profile. So in your case, you being the owner or the manager or the supervisor of the business, you're going to want access to everyone's profile. So you're going to want to list yourself as an administrator, as we have here. But in the event that you are an employee, or you're setting up an account or you're setting up a profile for your employee, you're going to want to click the employee tab here. And what that's going to do is that's going to limit them to be able to only see their particular profile, no one else's. Synapse is going to allow you to provide very candid, straightforward, whether it's positive or opportunistic feedback for employees in a way where those employees can see that documentation, can see what feedback you had for them. And in a lot of ways, it's private. It's between you and that particular employee. And so you're not going to want other employees that who aren't affiliated with that feedback to be able to see it. So anytime you add an employee in here, unless they have direct reports that you're going to want to affiliate them with, I would list them as an employee. That way they can only view their own profile and their own feedback and their own results and their own performance evaluations. So again, in short, if you have an office manager or for yourself, because you want them to have access to everyone's profile, code it as an administrator. If you have an employee who is only responsible for their own results, then you're going to want to code it as a employee. Hope that makes sense. And then you'll make sure and hit save updates, because if you just X out of this or you hit back, it won't save. So you hit save updates, hit OK. and you're good to go. You can see my picture's been saved here. Now, if I go back to team, there it is, the first profile is set up. Now, as you start adding your employees, you're going to have additional profiles all the way across here, and they'll start adding in. So coming back here to this box, payments and billings. This is basically have two plans at Synapse. You either can have a plan that has 9 or fewer employees. That plan is going to be the plan that the majority of you are on. Majority of our users have anywhere between 5 to 7 employees, so that's about 90% of our user base is on the smaller plan size. But we do have a handful of users that have more than 10 employees, and so in this particular demo account, we do have the 10 plus employee account, so we can add as many profiles as we can or as we want. Whereas if you had the 9 or fewer, is the minute you, or the second that you add the 10th profile, the company's going to ask you, or the system's going to ask you to change the plan. So changing the plan would just click that button. If you were going to have, if you're a bigger organization than 10, or maybe you hired more, you had 9 employees and then you just hired a 10th and you need to add a profile, you'd have to upgrade your plan. So that's all you basically do here. And if for whatever reason your credit card expired, the one that's systematically pulling payment, you would just come in here and update that, and you can just change it and it would automatically update. Then come back here into company info. Sorry, let me go back here. That way it makes it easy to read. Then you go to company information. This is where you can add your company logo. In the event, let's just go ahead and add this logo in there. That'll update here in a second. That's Synapse's logo. So if you have a logo for your company, you could put it in there and you can see that it'll update up in this screen right there. So you can start seeing things are starting to develop a little bit here. You'll add any information that you want in here, the name of the company, your address, phone number, anything that, this is all basic information. You just want to update that, go all the way through it, and you'll save updates. It'll ask you if you're sure. And then the last feature here is the global admin settings. This particular area is in regards to whether or not you want your team having full access to editing their profiles. I would encourage users to, or administrators or business owners, to allow their employees to go in and update results, update performance metrics. They'll have limited access to be able to do it. This basically just allows them to update. If they made a sale, they go in and code the sale, that type of stuff. The reason I encourage it is simply because it keeps your employees more connected to their objectives, what you're asking them to achieve. If they're required to go in and update these things on a daily basis or in real-time basis, it keeps them highly connected to what's expected of them. I have a few users who want to do it themselves. The administrators want to do it themselves. They don't want their employees going in and being able to do it. So that's why we have the option. We can create the option here. So this one in particular, allow employees to update their current month activity and production numbers. And so if right now it's coded as don't allow, I would encourage everyone to allow it. Again, it'll keep your employees highly connected to their job objectives. And then the other ones here are notification alerts. As you update employees, it's going to ask for things like their birth dates, just the month and the date. In certain states, you can't ask how old they are, so we're not requesting that you put in the year. We are requesting that you put in the month and the date. The only reason we ask for that is the system, if you select here, the system will send you an email notification letting you know that you have an employee whose birthday is coming up. And if you're the kind of employer who wants to get them a gift card or a half day off or whatever it might be, you'll be notified a week in advance so that you can plan accordingly. It does the same thing for a work anniversary. So you can see it does it for employee birthday reminders and employee work anniversary reminders. So you'll receive notification alerts when those things come up. That way you can plan accordingly should you wish to either get them a gift or provide some type of recognition. And then you just save the updates and you're good to go. And that is pretty much it for the account details area. In the next In the next tutorial, we're going to show you how to start adding employee profiles, and that way you can build your team out. So I encourage you guys to watch the next one. Thanks.